don't even know like we're already here because I guess I don't know. I just don't know what the timeline is around like congressional shit that they have to do like when they elect the speaker and shit. This is fucking hilarious. This is like force the vote, but it's on the GOP side. It's so good. This is so good. All right, let's go.
So we may have a battle on the floor, but the battle is for the conference and the country.
Some of the reasons that these people have for not voting for McCarthy are unbelievably petty.
Kevin McCarthy was taking the path of Nancy Pelosi and following her precedents.
Are you ready to be entertained? This story is so magnificent, and I have so many great clips to share with you. So this is over. Kevin McCarthy, who is trying to become the Speaker of the House.
Right.
He is a Republican member, of course. They currently control the House in terms of numbers, though it's very slim.
Right.
But, of course, there are some even crazier Republicans to the right of him, sort of, that are basically preventing him from actually becoming Speaker.
Wait a minute, though. The people that you had in your clips were some of those fucking people, right? Like, so it seems to me, based on like the clips that you were just showing, that it's actually the MAGA Trump people who have his back. So who voted no? Because I would love to know this because this is fucking great.
This to at least multiple ballots, because as I am recording this, Kevin McCarthy just lost his first ballot to become Speaker of the House. And while this is all going on, Dan Crenshaw is freaking out on his fellow Republican lawmakers in the most amazing way. In multiple appearances on cable news, he let him have it and named names, did not hold back. So let me start here with first what just happened. As I said,
Wait, hold up. So this is why it's really important for all you fucking stupid ass force the vote people that were like, oh, the squad, they need to force the vote. They need to make sure that Nancy Pelosi brings Medicare for all to a vote in order for her to become speaker. Like, we have to, like, you know, basically, like, hold it as ransom to fucking get this done. You realize, like, one of the reasons Nancy Pelosi was always re-elected as speaker, from what from like people I've talked to in local politics who actually have some connections and know some things, is because she was a very talented whip, and she also knew the parliamentarian process very well. She knew how to work the system, which is why we were able to get through 2 impeachments. She did as much as she could, but she also understood that there was only so much power that you have with one house, like the House, right? If you don't have the Senate as well, then you're somewhat limited, right? So that's why the squad did not force that issue, because they knew that she was actually really fucking good at her job, and that simply was not something they could bargain on in that moment. Now, they could have done it on, like, a package, right? Like, they could have forced it on, like, one of the packages and say, hey, it should be part of this infrastructure bill or whatever. They could have done it there. And they have, like, they should have had the rail workers' backs. They should have done it there. It's not like they are perfect either. And I don't know who is trying to coordinate them and give them the bad ideas that they get. But the force the vote idea was fucking ridiculous. And now we can see it play out on the Republican side of the House. And it's so fucking funny to watch this.
He loses first ballot for Speaker. First time House majority has failed to elect Speaker on the first ballot in a century. The last time this happened was in 1923 when House Republicans took 9 ballots to elect a Speaker.
Oh my God.
So it is now... the number's up to 8 GOP votes against McCarthy. So McCarthy needs 218 to be able to win the majority, meaning he can only lose 4 votes. He's already up to losing 8 votes. And I'll get to a screenshot in a second here where there is likely around 14 to 20 people that are not going to vote for him. And on the GOP side, of course, Democrats are not supporting him, which if they did, maybe Kevin McCarthy has to work out some deal.
I'd just like to point out that this is even more evidence that whole force the vote strategy was a GOP strategy. And now they're doing it, they're eating their own, which is fucking fantastic.
Though I imagine that won't happen just based on him likely losing votes for his own side if he were to try and get Democrats over. But this is just some of the rules. Before we get to some of these clips, which are incredible, let me just set the stage here. So the eventual speaker typically needs, as I told you, 218 votes. If no candidate secures the majority on the first ballot, the process will repeat until the speaker is elected. A speaker can win with fewer than 218 votes if not every member shows up or if some vote present. Quote, under the modern practice, the speaker is elected by a majority of members, elect voting by surname. The last time, as I told you, was 1923, and of the 14 multiple ballot elections for House Speaker, 13 occurred before the Civil War. So this is not a very common thing for the majority to not be able to elect the speaker in the first vote.
You know what, though? Yeah, not only is it not common, but it also is like taking the temperature of the room for the GOP right now. And this is so fucking fantastic because it means they are in a terrible place going into the next presidential cycle. This is fucking fantastic.
McCarthy facing a lot of opposition that you'd think, is it based on some kind of policy? These other members really want something, a different direction for the party? No, it's all bullshit. So this is where, even I am not a fan of Dan Crenshaw for obvious reasons, but he is correct in terms of where he sits, and what he's simply asking for is to just elect the next speaker as a Republican. McCarthy's already head of the caucus. Might as well put him in as speaker. Right. But as you'll see, Crenshaw's criticisms are accurate, even though he is wrong in his ideology. Do they actually? Okay, so the ones who are like saying no, we don't want Kevin, which I mean, Kevin's an asshole, whatever. But do they actually have like a replacement candidate? Because this was also part of why I did not support Force the Vote when they were trying to like push that on the squad back in 2020, right? Is that, well, if you're going to try and replace Nancy, what are you going to replace her with? Who's your replacement candidate? Nobody else was fucking running. So do they have a replacement? Where he focuses his attention and his energy in terms of his criticisms and what his party should be doing in terms of holding power, he is absolutely correct. So McCarthy acknowledges that behind closed doors, there are likely 20 or so members voting against him, not 5. Oh my God. Here are 14 that have said on the record that they're not going to vote for him. So quite a number of names here. That's so good. Boebert isn't on this list, even though she is speaking out against him publicly. So I'll get to that clip at the very end of this video. So it's a bigger list. He told McCarthy told reporters on Tuesday he won't drop out if he fails the first vote, promising a floor fight even if the process goes to multiple ballots. At the end of the day, we'll get there. And I have to assume that he will, but maybe he won't. So one of the big things these other members is the problem. I thought he was a Trump loyalist. Is the problem that he doesn't have Trump's back well enough for these people? Is that what's happening here? But I thought he was a Trump loyalist. What's going on here? Like, what is their fucking problem with him? Like, I'm so confused about because you conservatives are so fucking crazy. Like, I never know what's going on with you. They're fighting for these freaks right here. Is that they want a single member of the caucus to be able to basically recall Kevin McCarthy. So if one person doesn't like something McCarthy does, then they have the ability to call a vote to replace him. Why? Which is insane. Think of all the think of how many times that will likely happen if that's the case. McCarthy came back apparently with a deal of 5 members, if 5 of them want to do it, as opposed to half the caucus, which is what it normally is. If 5 of them want to recall him, okay, well then he's okay with that. But they still wouldn't go for that. They want a single individual to be able to recall Kevin McCarthy or have a vote. Why? Like, why? I mean, once you elect a leader, can't you give that leader the space to actually be the leader? Like, why would you do that? Why would you make it so fucking tenuous like that? That is so fucking insane. I can't. You guys are literally crazy. You're fucking crazy people. To recall him, which is ridiculous. But let me get to the first clip here. So here's Dan Crenshaw I may just,
Oh my god.
I'll play this by itself. So I'll play this for you, and he does not hold back.
This handful of members is very clearly looking for notoriety over principle. That's what it is. And anyone who suggests differently is in some kind of make-believe fantasy reality. It's not true.
The second you have a kid, it's
so
like
weird. Okay,
your heart is living outside of your body, which means you never, ever stop.
They lost those debates.
I totally, because my eyesight's not great, I totally thought that he was being interviewed like in a bathroom, like standing at a urinal. I just like, I'm far enough away that that's what it looked like to me, because that pirate guy is so fucking classless. I mean, I don't know what happened to his eye. Maybe he had some sort of injury. I don't know what the backstory is there, but that pirate guy is so fucking classless.
That should have been the end of it, because that's how a team works, right? You hash this stuff out, you figure it out, and then you move on. But if you're a narcissist, and you believe that your opinion is so much more important than everyone else's, then you'll keep going. And you'll threaten to tear down the team for the benefit of the Democrats, just because of your own sense of self-importance. They are enemies now. They have made it clear that they prefer a Democrat agenda than a Republican one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I am loving this so much.
I know you are. Me
that
too.
this is happening publicly, that they are in a real fight here. So look, for a while it appeared that maybe this is a bunch of hot air. They're gonna eventually come. They're just trying to negotiate with McCarthy, trying to get whatever they want out of him, and then they'll.
Well, the best part about this is that, like, one of the struggles that we've had of being leftists or progressives or liberals or whatever whatever you are on the left, right? And we've been doing all the work, trying to register voters, trying to like get people on board to like vote for our candidates. We have always known that Republicans fucking fall in line, right? Like they don't care who the candidate is. They're literally voting for the party because they believe in the platform. But their ideas is that the platform to them stands for smaller government, states' rights, local control. Those are like the basic tenements of the Republican Party. And these motherfuckers have bastardized it so severely that now there's so much I love watching this. There's so much infighting because they can't get their shit together about what freedom means. They can't agree on anything anymore, and so now they're doing the same bullshit that the fucking Green Party and the Peace and Freedom Party and all the Louis Farrakhan followers and everybody else who are like, you are not far enough to the left. You do not believe in the same things as me. You are not an anti-Semite like I am. So therefore, this is so good watching them. They are self-destructing in ways that we've seen the left self-destruct in the past. And, it's the same bullshit with like the fucking ATEM elections that we're going through right now, where there's got to be a pledge. You got to fucking agree to a pledge and agree that you're going to support Karen Brunell's candidates and shit. Or I think in one of the previous ones, she wanted you to agree to like a BDS statement. What is that? Boycott, divest, and sanction Israel, right? So that's like the most hardcore thing to come against Israel, which is a far right government. So there's issues there. But it was like so fucking hardcore that it was really anti-Semitic. Anyway, let's go.
Vote for him in the first ballot. But no, they are really fighting. And Dan Crenshaw is incredibly pissed that they are doing that. So here is another clip. And I'm going to show you actually in this video two different, another clip from his Fox News appearance. But here's the first one. So he's on here. I'll just watch this with you. And he gets even more specific. And this is wonderful.
You
Look, you've got these members. You just showed who they are. No one knows what their goal is. They say their goal is some noble cause for the cause of conservatism, for the people, for holding the swamp accountable, right? These are the phrases that they'll use to make themselves seem like they're some white knights out there to...
This is a Tea Party guy, right? He's like a Tea Party guy. You know, I'll be real with you. I was a Republican up until about 2008 or 2009. I was a registered Republican up until about 2008, 2009. And when the Tea Party fucking came out and started doing their bullshit, I was like, I can't be a part of a party that's that fucking racist. Because what they were doing was fucking racist.
Save you. Of course, none of this is true. None of this is true whatsoever. This is purely a play for more airtime, and they're getting it. There's some of these people who nobody knows who they are. Like nobody, people know who Scott Perry is, but nobody knows who Bob Good is. You know why Bob Good's not voting for Kevin McCarthy? Because Kevin McCarthy took 3 weeks to call him after he won his election, after Kevin McCarthy put $2 million into that election. Some of the reasons that these people have for not voting for McCarthy are unbelievably petty. Unbelievably petty.
Oh, wait.
This is about showmanship. This is about...
Okay, so the pirate guy is actually on board with going with the establishment vote here. He's not one of the ones, like, talking against it. I was misinterpreting. My bad. I get it now. But from what I understand, he is like a Tea Party pirate dude, right? That is what he does, I think.
Notoriety. It has nothing to do with the conservative agenda. I would love for them to at least come out once and say, look, we actually disagree on the priorities of Kevin McCarthy and the rest of the Republicans. We have policy disagreements, and we won't vote for you until you prioritize those policies that we think would be better for the American people. Have they said anything like that? Not once.
You know what?
Not once.
You know.
So before I continue here, this is why I say they are sort of to the right of McCarthy, but not really, because there's no actual policy disagreements here. It is all about narcissism. So Dan Crenshaw is actually accurate in his criticisms of these crazy Republicans, these even crazier Republicans, who just won't vote for McCarthy because they simply want attention and cameras. And they want to pretend it's about for the American people when they're not fighting over any actual...
Yeah, like, what are your actual demands? I mean, at least, like, when those motherfuckers who were trying to force the vote in 2020, 2021 for the Nancy Pelosi speakership, they actually said, force the vote to make her bring Medicare for all to a vote on the floor. Like, they actually had a fucking plan, right? There was something behind it. But oh my God, even this is hilarious. And they're making the pirate guy like look like the sane person. Like, he's the sane dude right now. What were they? Okay. What is their goals? Like, what's their platform? What are they trying to achieve in this? This
policy differences. It's all a bunch of trash. Oh so a little more here. Let me finish this off.
No, and Republicans have been waiting years for this opportunity to take over the House. And so when the rest of the country looks at how Republicans are handling day one, they can't unite, they can't come together. It's day one and they can't agree already.
Yeah, it's a shame. It makes us look foolish. If I didn't know any better, it's like the Democrats paid these people off. Hey, let's pay them off. Let's make it look like the Republicans can't govern and don't deserve it.
But also on top of it, you're making that dude, the eye patch dude, look like he's the sane person in the room. Like, he's the sane person in the room right now. And that guy has had all kinds of crazy interviews over the past few years. So, I mean, Republicans, you've lost your goddamn minds. This is so amazing. It's so amazing.
Any gavels whatsoever. That's what it makes it look like. Again, their demands are foolish. Their demands are inside baseball procedural issues. That's what they are. Wow. Their demands are things that the average American doesn't care about at all. The average American cares about defunding 87,000 IRS agents. That's actually what's going to be on the floor today if McCarthy gets 218.
Is that really what? Okay, so look, I'm with. If I was a Republican, I would be agreeing with Dan Crenshaw, on all of his points about criticizing these members that won't vote for McCarthy. But Americans really care about defunding the IRS. Let me show you. Look, maybe they do if they don't know any better.
would be so
but if you
fucking
pay
good.
attention to why they are so concerned about this is what happened back in August. The IRS just got $80 billion to beef up a big goal going after rich tax dodgers.
Well, yeah, there's that.
So the IRS has more money now to go after specifically rich people screwing the system. That's why you're all of a sudden hearing about, we got to defund the IRS. Pretending it's about, the average American, when really it's...
Being real. When I first heard him say that, I was thinking ICE, not IRS. I was thinking he was like actually talking about like removing ICE agents. But yeah, go after the fucking rich. Go get them. Let's go get them.
About their wealthy donors. But look, it's one thing if the members in the party were against McCarthy because of that, and they want to actually increase this funding and keep that there. But again, they're not saying that. So it's not about this policy disagreement. Those members are also on board. The ones against McCarthy are also on board with defunding the IRS. So it's all about just trying to get the cameras, trying to get the personal, trying to raise their profile.
This is literally force the vote. That's what it is, David. This is force the vote, and they want to show that they can actually get it done, right? Despite the fact that they have no actual purpose to get it done. Same as when the leftists, which are not really leftists, were trying to do it against Nancy Pelosi. This is just a maneuver to say, we have this strength. We can do this to you. That's it. Because for the most part, they fucking agree with each other on policy. This is what we can do to you. This is what we can do to you.
In this attempt to try and, get McCarthy out of the spot or prevent him from taking the spot, it's all so ridiculous and self-serving. So here... I am a no. Matt Gaetz emerges from McCarthy's office after meeting amid tense speakership battle. How tense was this? Mm-hmm. McCarthy raises voice, swears inside a GOP meeting. So he was apparently pretty pissed for good reason. Again, from his perspective, for a good reason, pissed at the other members for not just coming on board. And here is a bit of what McCarthy said after he emerged from that meeting.
For a long time. I've been leader for 4 years. I came into this position and we had less than 200 members. We are now sitting in the majority. We put forth to the American public a commitment to America. Mm-hmm. There's times we're going to have to argue with our own members if they're looking for only positions for themselves, not for the country. Mm-hmm. For the last 2 months, we worked together as a whole conference to develop rules that empower all members. But we're not empowering certain members over others. Last night I was presented the only way to have 218 votes if I provided certain members with certain positions, certain gavels, to take over the church committee, to have certain budgets. And they even came to the position where one, Matt Gaetz, said, I don't care if we go to plurality and we elect Hakeem Jeffries and it hurts the new frontline members not to get reelected. Well, that's not about America. And I will always...
Oh my God, Matt Gaetz said that? Matt Gaetz said that they would put Hakeem Jeffries in place. I can't even. Oh my God, that's so good. You guys are hilarious. You're so hilarious. It's kind of like they want to be able to, they want these establishment motherfuckers who are at the top who have worked their asses off, by the way, to have the positions that they have, but they want them to feel scared at any moment they could lose that fucking position. This is so good. I can't even.
Like to put the American people first, not a few individuals that want something for themselves. So we may have a battle on the floor, but the battle is for the conference and the country, and that's fine with me.
Understand how rare it is for Republicans in the House to be naming names of their own party and criticizing them. So here McCarthy calling out Matt Gaetz, again, for good reason, again, from his perspective, but he's right. This is all about a whole lot of nothing. All about.
And by the way, Matt Gaetz is a total fucking creeper. He's involved in a sex scandal. He's got all kinds of shit going on. But he is clearly trying to do a lot to actually try and restore his reputation. Like, he recently introduced legislation that would get money out of politics, right? It would prevent people in Congress from being a part of like the stock market. So there's no longer some insider trading, because they get inside information when they're in these subcommittees and stuff. And there was a whole bunch to it. It was actually some really good fucking legislation. He is absolutely doing the horseshoe theory bullshit of trying to reach out to the left to get people on board with him. But he also is a disgusting, filthy, fucking sex pervert, right? But he's like a Tea Party dude. And so he's just being difficult with everybody. And he knows that his district will elect him.
But, what some of them want in terms of personal positions on in certain committees, but largely it's been about trying to get him out, or having the ability to, again, recall McCarthy with a single person being against him. So it's all.
Well, nobody likes the boss. That's what. Nobody likes the boss. They want to be able to get rid of the boss at any time. That's where we are right now.
Again, this whole thing is just so absurd. But let me show you another clip from this Fox. This Fox and Friends interview with Dan Crenshaw is just top to bottom incredibly entertaining. Here is the last bit of that.
Okay.
They keep acting like they've got somebody in the wings. They're just waiting. You'll see on the day of, right? They keep saying that. They're like children. This is such a childish attempt at gaining more and more attention. You know why they say it like that? Because they want you to interview them again. That's why they're doing it. Please interview. You'll see if you just put me on TV just one more time, please. Then I'll tell you who we're going to go for. But here's the thing: they've got nobody. Even if they did, I promise you, there's a ton of Republicans who will not vote for them. They will not vote for anyone except Kevin McCarthy. Because here's the thing: this is a general election. All right, we had our primary election, and Kevin McCarthy won with 85% of the vote. That's a primary election. Okay. Now we're in the general election. So if you're not voting for our GOP nominee, you are voting for Democrats. You are enabling Democrats. Yep. And let's make something very clear. You know who is technically the Speaker of the House if Kevin isn't sworn in? It is a clerk who is appointed by Nancy Pelosi. So the only person you're empowering are the Democrats. The Democrats are cheering. The Democrats are so happy that this is all happening because these guys and these.
But do you see, like, you do get it? Like, there are certain Republicans who are actually trying to be like, look, I work across the aisle. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of fucking cool that Hakeem Jeffries, who is far more establishment for my taste than anything else, but it's possible that he could potentially become the Speaker of the House because of your nonsense. I kind of love that.
Girls wanted to make this happen. They wanted so much notoriety. Their own sense of self-aggrandizement is so important to them that they needed to make this happen.
Well, we're going to find it.
So, this goes on, of course. Surprisingly, everyone on the couch is with Crenshaw here and McCarthy. Even Kilmeade was criticizing the other Republicans for not having any real reason to refute McCarthy and his speakership here. So there's no. I would be curious to poll Republican voters on how they feel about all this, because I would want to know right? Why voters would be so against McCarthy, considering the agenda is exactly the same, regardless of what side of this debate you're on. Because it's again all about nothing except these individual members and what they want out of committees, or what they want in terms of power and the attention being on them. So as I told you, Brian Kilmeade rips McCarthy holdouts for putting ego ahead of America. Last thing here. So I debated how much of this to show, because all of this just, this is all just trash, right? At this point. Bo Burt, who isn't even on that list as I showed you, she is also coming out saying McCarthy is taking the path of Nancy Pelosi. I don't even... Don't even know how. So she's claiming taking the path of Nancy Pelosi because McCarthy's against a single member recalling him, which any speaker, of course, would be, because why would you want to create all this unneeded extra waste of time if one person is unhappy with something you did? I mean, this shit goes on. Here we are being sworn at instead of being sworn in. Going, of course, to McCarthy, swearing at them. And here's Gates, again, just being just the worst person. If you want to drain the swamp, you cannot put the biggest alligator in charge of the exercise. I'm a Florida man, and I know what I speak. Okay, whatever. This is all just dumb now at this point.
Oh my God.
I'll link to all, if you want to watch these videos, I'll link to this thread below this video under sources on YouTube. You can watch all this trash, but I think I showed you the important parts. And that was Dan Crenshaw and his reaction to all of this. As I said, this is still going on. So who knows how many more rounds of voting this is going to take to actually finally have a Speaker of the House. Will McCarthy make it? It remains.
Dude, I appreciate you covering the story because that's pretty hilarious that they are, though. I mean, look at what they're doing. They are trying to do the horseshoe theory kind of thing. They have been inviting Tulsi Gabbard in to speak on Fox News and stuff. She even wore an eye patch at one point to pay homage to that dude, the Crenshaw dude, right? I love watching these motherfuckers melt down. I think that's fucking fantastic because that means Americans are gonna give up on them because they're like a fucking cartoon now. They're a cartoon now.